On today's episode, we're going to dive into why it's actually an advantage to grow up poor. And we're going to dive into some stats to see worldwide, globally, how many people inherit a lot of money, $1 million plus, and how many people actually put their head down, do the grind, and become millionaires on their own. I hope you enjoy it. I hope I leave you better than I find you, and let's get into the value. While many poor people became poorer, the number of millionaires that increased over the last couple of years went up 5.2 million to 56.1 million people globally from the start of COVID. In 2020, more than 1% of adults worldwide were millionaires for the first time. Here's some local stats. 39,300 millionaires currently reside in our beautiful country, South Africa. Out of those, 2,080 are multi-millionaires. So they've got a net worth of more than 2 million and above. 2,080, it's a lot of people. While many of us that come from a disadvantaged background or just a normal upbringing without the wealth and the fame get discouraged because perhaps we didn't go to the right schools, have the best education, have the right network, belong to the right social clubs, and are associated or live in the right communities. I'm going to share a story with you that happened recently. So over the years, we've employed and trained hundreds of salespeople in our company. Recently, we did get that salesperson that everything was hit on the head. He has the right surname. Very influential family, very. He has the right education, went to the top schools in the country. He lives in the right community, gated community. Some of the wealthiest people in Gauteng live in that community. He belongs to the right social clubs. So friends with all the heavyweights that you all know and heard of and admire. He drives the right car, has all the pretty girls. He comes into our sales force and all of a sudden he has to compete with our killers. People, some of them didn't even finish school, come from very rough backgrounds, come from broken homes. Some of them come without parents. Unfortunately for him, he wasn't able to make it in our environment, in our culture, because the killers have that instinct, have that drive. And we're going to get into what those two main differences are from being poor and acquiring wealth and from inheriting wealth and coming through the right channels. I hope it makes sense to you. Let's get into them. The way I gauge, or the way that I look at people and watch what they do when they come into our corporation, there's always a telltale sign for me when I'm giving tough feedback, and that is yes, but. This creates a massive victim card that you go and take out and show people the whole time. Yes, but you didn't hit your target because you didn't make your calls. And because you didn't make your calls, you didn't get the necessary applications, you never came in front of enough people, therefore you didn't hit your target. Yes, but all my applications got declined. The moment I hear yes, but, I know that person is not in pursuit of true wealth and adding value to the marketplace. Here's what a killer, somebody that grew up rough, somebody that's got no time for excuses and grew up poor and wants to accumulate wealth, sounds like. And these are the two characteristics that I want to get into. If you grew up poor, your advantage is that you learned to survive with limited resources. What that means is you can't teach somebody to eat soup for 30 days a month. You can't teach somebody what it's like growing up, having nothing in your pockets. You can't teach that. You have to have that living experience. And that in turn brings out a fire in you that no education or university can. You can't teach that. Number two, when you grow up poor and you're on your pursuit of making R1 million, it forces you to take risks. So it forces you to go all in. Now, calculated risks take time and experience. But if you grew up with a big, massive inheritance, you don't need to take risks because you've got a safety net here behind you. So it's always, yeah, what if, maybe, yeah, let's try it, let's give it a go. But if you grow up poor and you've got nothing, your back's against the wall. There's no safety net. You're going to take risks, which also then teaches you how to create habits that encourage you to take risks. So I'll create a habit. I'll get 3 or 4 things done here during the day that gives me the courage to take a risk and pursue whatever it is that I'm pursuing. And in closing, I'm going to leave you with a couple of things. You have to answer this question for yourself. If you were to choose entering the workforce, the marketplace, with an MBA degree, let's say from a renowned university in Stellenbosch, you enter the marketplace. Then there's another person that enters the marketplace but reads 2 books a month for 5 years. I'm not going to answer it for you because it's a tough question. But just think about this. Who wins the long game? The person that got the MBA, doesn't improve himself going forward, relies on what the strong values and principles that the university has taught him, or the person that constantly improves himself over 10, 15, 20 years? Who wins? Hope you answer it for yourself. It's a difficult question. I'm still battling with it, but I'm leaning towards the one side. Now, let's get into the closing. I have 2 hacks for you when you are coming up poor. You have to outwork everybody in your office. You have to outwork everybody in your environment. So when we opened our dealerships, the guy across the road, I figured out everything about him. And the first question that I asked is, what time do you come to work and what time do you go home? So I come to work at 8 and I leave at 5. I said, great. I'm going to come to work at 6 and I'm going to leave at 9. So I've got 2 hours in the morning on you. I've got 4 hours in the evening on you. I've got 6 hours on you. It doesn't matter how much better you are at running sales teams. In 6 to 12 months, I will outwork you, therefore I will outsell you. Took our company 4 months. 30-year-old business. In 4 months, because we outworked them, we put in massive amounts of hours. In 4 months, our numbers grew bigger than his, and they've always been bigger. That's the first part. The second part is you have to outdevelop yourself according to your competitors. So see it this way. If you're competing in a marketplace with 20-something-year-olds that go out jolling in the evening on a Friday evening and smoke weed and drink beers and drink whiskey and drink brandy specials and all these things, Friday, Saturday night, you remain very stable, you create good habits, you read or you listen to an Audible for 2 to 3 hours on a Friday, you spend your Saturday and your Sunday improving yourself. In 4 months' time, the people that are in your office are not your equals. They're literally not, because they haven't put in the work that you have. Therefore, they cannot compete at the level that you are. So you have to show up. You have to show up as a millionaire. I've got 3 words: be, do, have. Be the millionaire. Be the millionaire before you are a millionaire. Do the things that they do, and you'll eventually have them. I hope this episode makes sense to you. I hope it improves your life and it gives you a different perspective. If it does, the way that you say thank you, and if you got value, leave us a comment and do subscribe. Please also ring the bell. Thank you very much. Take care and have a beautiful day. Bye-bye.